No, I think the front is the... Maybe that... Is that just the front like that? I guess anywhere's... I guess it doesn't really have a front. Okay. Anyway. Great. Okay. Let's keep moving. We do need to be getting like every single deer we see. I mean, we are very much hurting on hide right now. It's not only used for our armor, but also all the upgrades that we need done too. Shade of the Fools. I felt the same way, dude. Oh, whoops.
Hi.
Hi, Rexic. That's not what I typed or meant to hit. But yeah, I feel the same way.
I'm very surprised. This game is way more fun than I expected considering the FTP aspects.
Yep. I'm the same way. That's one of the reasons I didn't play it when the beta first came out. I was definitely not sold on the idea. Here we go. All right, we have 5 hide, which is not that much considering. What server are we on? We're on NAPVE 7, which Suzu is linking in chat. That's the correct pronunciation.
Na PVE 010007.
Yep. Thank you. What is FTP? F2P is free to play. This game is free. This game is free and 99% monetized via cosmetics only. Which is rare. Free and no subscription fee? Yep. What is the 1%? The 1% is that if you look in the shop under MetaPass, there is a subscribe feature. And the 1% of this game being pay to win is the fact that if you pay to subscribe, your campsite gets the ability to disassemble materials, the same feature you get in your main base. And the other thing is that Eternal Land order refreshes and building costs are reduced. So Eternal Land is technically the separate building area, so you could argue that's not like part of the base game. So that's kind of gray, but I get it. This part though, adding extra functionality to a camp that you don't get unless you pay, you could very easily argue is a pay to win mechanic. However, and I do need to say this, although that does meet the criteria, when you factor in what that is in the grand scheme, it is essentially meaningless in terms of the game. But it is there. So but that's why I say it's 99% free. It's not a big deal, but it's there. So, and there's a big argument for like foot in the door stuff, right? Like, oh, we'll just slide in a little here and there. So, I mean, I think it's important you're aware of it, but I think it's also important you're aware it's not a big deal. So it's that kind of thing. But it is there. So, yeah. It's that. It is by no means enough for me to consider like as a factor of not playing the game. So for me, it's a very small thing. But there are going to be people that are purists, as I would say, that would look at that and go, I'm not going to support that. And that's okay. You know what? I would never tell someone not to do that. So there you go. And again, I think for me, the biggest thing is that it's not so much what it is now, but it does show me that they might be willing to make stuff like that paid in the future. And although that feature is not a big deal, it does mean we have to pay attention to all future stuff. So that's why I mention it. That's why I'm bringing it up. That's why I'm not just giving them a free pass. Like, we do need to hold people accountable when they say there will be no pay to win in our game, and then they put something like that in. Like, I think it's fair to be like, you promised us no pay to win, but that's what you promised wouldn't be in the game. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I mention it, and I will probably continue to, because that could be the foot in the door, where it's like the next patch there's 3 of those things, and then the patch after that there's 5 of those things, and then by the patch after that they're just like, screw it, we're just going in. You know what I mean? So like, and I just don't want it. I don't want it to become that. I don't want to see that happen. I'd much rather there just not be anything than this little tiny tickle of something. And that's all I'll say about it. Yeah. I probably care about this stuff a lot more than you guys do. And that's okay. Can confirm, Cohh doesn't like tickling. I love tickling. I'm a tickle monster, for the record. How dare you? Oh my god. I don't know. Yeah. Great. Can we get leather from breaking down items in places like this? Or do we only get leather from deer and hunting? It is only deer. Okay. Oh yeah, control is my dodge. That's right. Excuse me. There we go. Great. Does Cohh also consider PoE pay to win? PoE is kind of similar to this game, where it's like 99% cosmetics. I will say there are some very interesting discussions to be had about the stash tabs in PoE, pay for convenience's place in the pay to wins discussion, and that is a whole discussion to have. So, are stash tabs pay to win? Not directly, but you can also argue that they're not indirectly. If you feel me, like that, Path of Exile is a very opinion-based question on pay to win, because it fully depends on how you feel about pay to progress and pay for convenience being under the pay to win umbrella. So that's how that works. Personally, I do put pay to progress under pay to win. That's why I call Warframe pay to win. I'm fine with that. I think there's some pay to win that I'm fine playing, and that's an example. Warframe's a good example of one of those things. But when it comes to things like stash tabs, things become a lot more murky. And I don't know personally how I fully feel about that yet, to put it bluntly. I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about that. Yeah, it's kind of a hard one. Because especially these days, I think people, especially people like me, want to have more concrete definitions. And there's nothing concrete about stash tabs and PoE in the pay to win discussion. Like it's a huge opinion piece. Yeah. So for me personally, I would a gut check without really like going too much into it. My gut check would be that the stash tabs in PoE relatively dramatically change the gameplay. And I have said many times in the past that if you plan on playing PoE long term, you will need stash tabs. Like you will want to get them. And I have to say, when you say things like that, that brings up the discussion, like, if core functionality is removed from a free game and they want you to pay to put it in, is that pay to win? Which again is another discussion. Because that's essentially what they did in PoE. Like, is that pay to play or is that pay to win? Is that buy to play or is that pay to win? I mean, imagine if in Diablo, well, no, I'm not going to use Diablo. Diablo's a terrible example. Ignore everything I said. But imagine if in Path of Exile, if it came with all that core functionality, like at that point they'd only be monetizing cosmetics, and I do wonder like what the percentage of their income is the stash tabs and everything. But yeah, that's kind of where I sit with Path of Exile. It's always been kind of this weird, unique thing. But I would almost put Path of Exile under more of the buy to play umbrella, which is weird as it is a free to play game, than I would a pay to win free to play game. Like it is weird. Because the stash tabs in PoE, if you're going to play that game long term, you have to get them. I mean, you have to. Like, it's part of the game. Loot is literally one of the things you do in Path of Exile. It is the point of the game, is to get loot. And stash tabs are a part of getting that loot. So you could argue they're a core component. And they charge you for it. So maybe that's what it is. Path of Exile is not actually a free-to-play game, chat. It is a free-to-try game. And then if you like it, you have to buy the game, which is the stash tabs. That's basically how that works. So I think honestly it's more of just a reclassification of the game, where it's like, I don't know if I'd really call Path of Exile free because they do charge you for core functionality. So when you start charging people for a core function of your game, you can't really argue they're freely playing it at that point because they're not freely playing the entire game. They're not freely playing all of Path of Exile if they don't have stash tabs, because they're such an important part of the game. So, yeah, you know what? If I were Path of Exile, I'd change the terminology on all that. I would. I would change the terminology on all that. I would reorient the discussion around stash tabs. And I would make it more for like $30. You could buy Path of Exile, and that just gets you all the stash tabs forever. And that's like buying the game or something. Of course, I don't know if that financially is feasible to them. Maybe they make millions more doing it the way they're doing, and maybe that's why they do it. But yeah, I do think that the more I think about it, I think one of the reasons we have such a hard time talking about Path of Exile in the free-to-play environment is because it's doing stuff that isn't traditional to that environment. Like, normally with pay-to-win stuff, you're buying power on top of your existing mechanics. But in Path of Exile, they just removed the mechanics. They literally just took out parts of the game, and they were like, if you want this, you need to buy them back. So, yeah, that is not a traditional pay-to-win thing. That doesn't really fit any definitions. So, I think maybe that's one of the reasons we have such a hard time fitting it in. It's a triangular puzzle piece we're trying to fit into a square puzzle. You know what I mean? Huh. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that little random discussion rant thing that didn't really include any new information. But I always love talking about that stuff. It's always interesting to me. Weren't we going to stop talking about this? Yes. But I will say that conversation was a little bit more parallel. I think that one was okay. You're missing so much loot? I'm trying not to. My snappy snap isn't working as well as I'd like. I'm trying to find the freaking gear stuff in here. I'm going to be real with you guys, though. One of the reasons I love playing this game is because I can just, like, talk to you guys and hang out. We can chat and stuff. So, this is not the first or last time I will be losing focus to talk about random game stuff. Yeah. It happens. Yep. And as I get older, my ADD gets even worse. Even more random talks of even randomer topics. Is randomer a word? Should be. All right, so I think this is one of them. Great. Hey, dude, you wouldn't happen to know where the mythical crate is in this area, would you? It's F5 to talk, by the way, if you got a mic. Oh, nope. Alright, so he doesn't know, unfortunately. Oh. Let's see. What are your thoughts on the TOS stuff? I talked about that at the beginning of the stream today. The TLDR is it looks to be more of a miscommunication and regional thing than a thing we need to be very worried about. Yep. It's across that bridge. Thank you. Let me get all this stuff first. Then we'll go back up. I need me some flatbread. Supreme Dad's root beer, bottled sunshine. Why does it say Dad's there? Is it supposed to be like Dad's root beer? There's no Dad on the... Oh. We're good. Where was... We were getting a hit in here. Where's that hit? Maybe we already got it. We must have already got it, yeah. It's at the top. It reminds me of the snap sound on the Nintendo commercial. Dude. The entire beta, so many people were like, please let us change or remove the snap sound. And the hilarious thing is they made so many changes based on player feedback, and it's like they were just totally deaf to that. They were just like, no. You don't like the snap sound? Cool. Deal with it, because we do. That's essentially what they told us. Yep. They were like, nope, not changing it. We good. Okay, cool. Ten blueprint fragments. That's of 40. Great. Throughville is done. Mark another one off our map, boys and girls. You love to see it. Let's go over here next. Did they change the location of the chest for release? I'm not sure. Rye 824.
At CohhCarnage, I see Poe as a free-to-try. Pay-to-play, stash tabs.
Yeah. That's exactly what we were talking about earlier. I appreciate that, man. Yep. Okay, we could make a blue shotgun. I think I might do that. Oh, well. I was going to say maybe as a tier 2, but... which one of these is doing more damage? If I... Let's see. Shotgun's doing 49 times 6. This is doing 189. What about... Let's do this one. And let's drain... Because we have a bunch of ammo for this. Let's drain the ammo for that. We gotta make some shotgun shells. Do we have any now? Oh, we do have some. We can make a few more. Okay. While it's cooking, let's go hit some gunpowder real quick. Why did this game get such bad reviews on Steam? Because they made the extremely poor decision to think that they could release this game by allowing you to only make one character on one server one time. And to put it bluntly, that was an absolutely terrible decision. That was one of those like mind-bogglingly terrible decisions. The game should have been pushed back until they could have put those in, not released. And I hate to say it, but they deserve every single negative review because that was a horrible, horrible, horrible thing to do. Especially considering this game has some of the poorest communication I've ever seen with the community. They have great amounts of communication, but they are putting out so much information so fast that it has been breeding miscommunication and people not understanding. and mistranslations not being corrected, and it's been textbook terrible. Yeah, textbook terrible. Which is really unfortunate, because I know for a fact that the people that I've talked to are working their ass off trying to get this all done properly, but it's like there's just so much. Like, for those that haven't been following, they've been doing like social promotions every 4 days for like the past 3 weeks, and they're all for different things, and they all put out different information at different times, and it's like they're trying to coordinate and match everything and make sure it's all consistent, and it's just like, yeah, it's been a thing. You say terrible communication, but they fixed the character issue an hour after release. That's true, and they told us why, and that's good. That's great. But again, the fact that it all happened in the first place, that's a problem. Absolutely. And the reason I'm saying that it's a problem is because the reason this whole thing started was because somebody said that there's a huge amount of negative Steam reviews. And I responded saying, yeah, and they're all deserved. Because they made the decision to allow multiple character creation on release, or excuse me, single character creation on release, and that was a terrible decision. So and then the communication aspect comes into the fact that we didn't know they were going to do that. We didn't know about any of that stuff. So, you know, that was a big thing. And that was why the reviews were so negative at the beginning. However, to the devs' credit, they fixed that very quickly, which is great. So those reviews have been tapering off significantly, and now the reviews the negative Steam reviews are talking about the TOS stuff. And from everything I've seen from that's just a huge amount of miscommunication and misunderstanding. So, we're back to communication. So it's that kind of thing. Yeah. It's that kind of thing. Like, for instance, I don't know if we've seen any official word from the Once Human company, but there is no question that they should put out a very public and large news bulletin highlighting that section of the TOS, explaining exactly why it's in it, and assuaging people's fears. I don't know if they've done that yet. Maybe they haven't, but that should, of course, be the first thing they did yesterday. They did. Okay, chat is saying they did do that. So what is their official response? I didn't see that. I was asking if they did. I wasn't saying if they didn't. In fact, you know what? Hold on, chat. Let's do this. I haven't seen their official response. Let's really quickly look at their official response on that. I'm assuming it's on the Once Human thing. Let's see. Why is it so big on this screen? Ah, here we go. Thank you for your attention, continued support of Once Human. We are truly grateful for all your feedback. We would like to take this opportunity to address concerns we've been regarding the game's privacy and confusion. Once Human takes our users' data privacy very seriously. We would only use personal data if we have a legitimate legal basis, such as providing requested services or acting within your express consent. We will only use your data lawfully and responsibly and in accordance with local legal compliance requirements, while practicing the data privacy principles such as data minimization, purpose limitation, and transparency. We appreciate and welcome any and all feedback given our players to help us improve. The players expressed concern about the NetEase launcher. Okay, I don't know anything about the launcher. Sincerely apologize for any confusion or uncertainty experienced by our players. Okay. So this I think is the important part. Now, I don't know if this is going to do it for the people that actually have concerns. Because obviously if the company was doing this in bad faith, then none of this would matter, right? So like standard PR stuff. But it's good they addressed it. It's good they addressed it. So that's good. But, yeah. I mean, how do you guys feel about that? How do you guys feel about that? Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, so the short of it, and I don't want to make this, you know what, let's do this. Let's do this. Mods, I would love to not have to address this again. let's do this real quick. I'm going to make this happen. Okay, here we go. Hi, everybody. I am playing a game called Once Human. And I have been getting some questions during the stream that I'd like to tell you in this video so I don't have to answer them all the time in the stream. So there's two big things about Once Human. Two big questions. First of all, is the game pay to win? The answer is this game is 99% not pay to win. The only small change here, small thing, being that there's a small bit in the meta pass where you do get some extra functionality in your camp, which, to be clear, is not functionality that's very important. It's just the ability to disassemble at your camp, which you can also do at your main camp. It's part of the game mechanics. They also have disassembly stations in front of boss fights. So it's not a big deal, but you do get extra functionality if you pay. And then also you get some extra stuff in Eternal Land, which is the game's separate building zone. So not gameplay related. It is a separate building zone, which arguably is cosmetic if you want to do that. But those are two things you also get in this. Now, outside of this stuff, particularly these last three, everything else in the game is cosmetic. The Battle Pass. You do get items in the Battle Pass, only in the free version. You do not get any items in game in the paid version. It's only keys, which are then used as a currency to buy more cosmetics. So the store itself, 100% cosmetic. We looked through everything. There's nothing in this store currently that is anything outside of a skin for an item you get in the game. So on top of that, there's also some seasonal stuff we found, but even the seasonal stuff is purchased with in-game currency. So for now, as of now, this game is what I would say 99% pay to win free. The only slight gotcha for the purists being the fact that there are some slightly gray things in the Meta Pass, which is their sub service for $5 a month. So, and those arguably are they're not a big deal. They're there, but they're not a big deal. So there you go. How are they going to be making their money? They're making their money because they have really nice skins that are $30. This skin costs $30. It's also a really nice skin. But this is how they make their money. They make their money by selling really nice cosmetics for a good amount of money. This one's $30. I think these are like 15. Then these go a little bit less. So that's how they're planning on making money. Okay, that was the first question. The second question is there has been a lot of issues concerning the TOS. There are some very scary blocks of text going around talking about large amounts of information that the game is going to be taking from you. Now, understandably, as this game is based out of China, and there's a lot of geopolitical stuff going on with that these days, there are people that go, that's a lot of information I don't want anyone to have. I am not interested in this game. I'm not going to play it. That's your prerogative. And I would never tell you otherwise. Okay, there's a risk of that. It might be a 1% risk, but there's a risk of that. This is a Chinese company that might take your data. Is the risk very tiny? Absolutely. But it's there. However, that language in the EULA is not unique to Once Human. Experts in the field have said that this is normal language. There is language in there specifically that says they'll only get that data if they are legally required to or on request from people needing it. And it is more, from what we understand, according to experts, a miscommunication and people not understanding that that's kind of standard language these days, and less about this game and this game trying to take your data. That's where we are with that. So again, I'm not an expert in international law, Chinese law, and EULAs in video games. That is not my area of expertise. So I am deferring to the people that have been doing that for their jobs. And those people, both creators and non-creators, are saying that this language is not a big deal and we do not need to worry about it. As One True Spork in chat just said,
cybersecurity expert here, can confirm it's pretty standard.
And funny enough, One True Spork, like everyone else in chat, is not only a cybersecurity expert, he's also a doctor, a lawyer, and one of the best gamers I've ever seen. So that is, like all of chat, I would take him at his word. But that's kind of where we are with this whole thing. So the TLDR of this video is that this game has kind of been mired with communication issues since I played it multiple betas ago. Everything I'm seeing right now is kind of in line with what I've been seeing. and I think that as of now, I'm still very comfortable playing this game exactly how it is. So that's kind of where we are. I do want to end this video by saying that I have given you the pieces of this puzzle, but going out and doing your own research, getting your own information, and completing the puzzle is up to you. So never take a streamer at their word. Always follow up yourself, and hopefully I've given you enough tools to be able to do that. So anyway, that's it. If you see people in chat asking these questions, I will most likely just be telling them to watch this video in the future and trying to keep playing this game. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Okay, we're going to make that a little highlight. And we are going to not deal with that all the time for the rest of the playthrough. Okay. Great. Ah, perfect. Thank you, Voxdeus. See, I'm glad we have more people stepping up and doing this. Yeah.
Professional nibble twister here. Can confirm eat as standard toes.
Thank you. What do we got here? Let's go see what this is. Grab some wheat. Are we on PvE 7? We are. Yep. Dude, I'm gonna make so much beer. Wow, look at that guy's house already. GG, dude. Harvest season. Hi, Hannah. Do Hannah a favor. Oh, there we go. Oh. Do you need some help? Okay. Not far from here is a town called Citrus County, my hometown. It's now in ruins. 12 years ago, I left because of the pollution and marauders. I've never returned. I want you to get some memories and stuff. Retrieve some objects. It's like the first completely unvoiced person I've found. What do you want me to do? Okay. We gotta go harvest some plants. Cool. Okay. Great. Prism says, I guarantee the people worried about their data all have an email with their first and last names with their year of birth. And they probably all use the password with an @ and a 0, and they think they're totally fine. Yeah. Is it a Destiny 2-like game? I don't know. I don't really play Destiny 2. I mean, I've heard people say comparisons, but I couldn't give you a good one myself. They are both online multiplayer looter e-shooters, I guess. But I think that's kind of... I don't think the gameplay loop is similar. So far, this looks like a straight-up survival game. Yeah, it's an online multiplayer looter shooter. So with survival elements and elements of other genres as well. But yeah, at heart, it is a looter shooter action online adventure game. Okay. I am sick of talking like this for the entire day. I'm going upstairs to use the Forbidden Afrin. I'm going to run some ads. Chat, I'll be right back. Mods, you know what to do. Let's do it right today. All right, guys, I'll be back in 1 second.